let us look at a few questions, a few practice questions, getting volumes through rotations. So first question is this. Y equals 2 minus 1 half x, and then second one is y equals x. That's x-axis. X equals 1, x equals 2, and then rotating about the x-axis. So let us try to sketch the graph, and then so that we can understand what's going on a bit better. In this case, y-intercept is 2, and then slope is negative 1/2, so I'm going to say, hey, it's going to go down this way somehow. Obviously, x-intercept is equal to 4, but x goes from 1 to 2. So we're looking at this area. That will be rotating about the x-axis. Now then you can imagine the disk to which we are looking at. It will come all the way down here. And then the shape would have been something like this. I mean, we don't actually have the beginning portion, but we only have the middle portion. So then, in this case, how do you find the volume of those things? So first, the format is pi. And what's the value of r? R is the y value here, which is 2 minus x over 2. And then we're going to square that. Pi r squared. And thickness is what? Dx. Then what happened to x? X goes from 1 to 2. So this is the integral, which we like to evaluate. Now, then when you expand this one, what do we end up getting? Pi 1 to 2. We get 4 and minus 2x plus x squared over 4 dx. So when you integrate this one, we get 4x, and then here we get negative x squared. And how about here? Plus x cubed over 12, and which goes from 1 to 2. Now, when you plug into the first one, becomes 8 minus 4, and then third one is what? 8 over 12 plus 8 over 12 minus, if I have to plug in 1, I get 4 minus 1 plus 1 over 12. And then when you combine them together, so 8 minus 4 becomes 4, and then becomes 0, and then 1. So it becomes total 19 pi over 12. That becomes our final answer. Alrighty. So it wasn't that bad, right? We have to remember the formula, how disk method works. All right, let's look at the next question, number 3. So here we have, once again, if I have to sketch that a little bit to help our understanding. And we know the graph of what y equals 1 over x goes something like this. And x goes from 1 to 2. And then y equal to 0, that's the x-axis. So this is the area that we'll be rotating about. And you can see that this is a similar concept to the one that which we just calculated. So what we end up getting is volume is equal to pi. The boundary goes from 1 to 2. And then r is the y value in this case, that's the r. And then 1 over x squared, because we have to square that. And dx. So now, pi, when you integrate 1 over x squared, then as you notice becomes negative 1 over x, which goes from 1 to 2. So when you plug in 2, we know that this will be equal to negative 1/2. When you plug in 1, we get negative 1, but with another negative sign in the front, so we end up getting plus 1. So our final answer becomes pi over 2. That becomes our final answer. Alrighty. So it wasn't that bad. Let's look at the next question, number 5. So this is a little bit different because as you can see, things are solved for x. So then what I'm going to do, now here we have, if I were to solve this one for y, then you might be able to understand what's happening a bit better. So we have 4y is equal to x squared. So you can realize that this is y equals x squared over 4. So here I have, that's the y equals x squared over 4. And then x equal to 0, that's the y-axis, and y equals 9. There would have been horizontal line, and then this will be the area which we like to rotate about the. This time, we are rotating about the y-axis. Then you can see a bowl, a solid bowl kind of being formed here. But I'm not sure if you noticed, the disk that which you're looking at is now horizontal. So therefore, volume is still pi r, but what is the r? R is the x value here. From the from the y-axis to the graph itself. That's the value of x, which can be found right over here. 2 radical y quantity square, and then dy. But y goes from all the way from 0 all the way up to 9. Now then when you simplify the expression, this becomes 4y, so we get 4 pi 0 through 9 of y dy. Then here we get 4 pi y squared over 2, which goes from 0 through 9. When you plug in 0, everything becomes 0, so it's not a big deal. When you plug in 9, what do we end up getting? It's 81. So therefore, what we end up getting is 4 pi and then 81 over 2. So here you can see that 2 cancels out with 4, becomes 2. So our final answer becomes 162 pi. That becomes our final volume. All right, with this one I'm going to stop, and I'll see you later.